Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. In this Warcraft Rumble HEROIC campaign guide, I'm going to show you how to take down Baron Rivendare in Plaguelands with even level 21 minis. Baron Rivendare is going to send a lot of troops at you. There are squads and squads and squads full of stuff, and they're all going to come right at you, so it's very easy to get overwhelmed in this one. Also, when skeletons die, they are going to appear over here. After a while they're going to respawn once enough have died, and then they're going to be under your control, and then they're going to try to attack the tower, but they are all going to get mowed down, after which they are going to go over here and respawn here again under Rivendare's control, and then they're going to just attack you. There's also ogre mages, there's necromancers, there's meat wagons, there's a lot of stuff coming right at you. There are a couple of ways that you can try to beat this map. If you're very heavily underleveled, there's only really one real approach, because Rivendare itself doesn't take too many hits to kill. So you could try to unbound spam Rivendare, but that requires quite high levels, because Rivendare has a lot of damage coming to you, so it's not possible to win the race. It's also really hard to tank. I did do this with my main account using Fire Elemental as a tank, and then Frostwolf Shaman as a healer, so that I had a tank and a healer, and then DPS units, and then I just went through and that tank was just tanking everything. But once you go down a couple of levels, then that also becomes impossible, because there's going to be too much damage. You can only tank something like Tirion can still tank, but not much else can. To make matters worse, Rivendare's skeleton party has corpse run, so they start at 25 and they're going to be 26 and 27 and 28. So yeah, they're going to be really hard to contest when you're underleveled. It's just almost impossible to go into a long fight in this one. So what I like to do when I'm severely underleveled is I want to push through here, take this tower, and then push through here, and Plague Farmer is really the key unit. Plague Farmer either solo with distraction is going to hurt Rivendare, or behind a push, like if you have a tank, or if you just have some distraction, then still Plague Farmer is going to be the main damage dealer at hurting Rivendare. I take this tower sometimes if there's a really good opportunity to do so, but overall that's not of high value. And taking this tower, well, you cannot put your minis to go over there at all, so it's really hard to take that one. Technically you can take it with a meat wagon from this side, but it's really not worth it, because you don't want to get into a long fight anyway. And regarding those meat wagons, the same applies when the enemy sends meat wagons down the middle. If your minis are walking this line here, then meat wagon can actually shoot over that wall at those minis. But if they're walking on this side, then it cannot. So sometimes that can be an important positioning thing, to position the minis on the left side instead of the right side of this lane, so that they can avoid being hit. Of course, it also depends on whether you want them to hit really quickly into the middle. And this is what my army for Rivendare looks like. Here are the 4 essential pieces. You always want these 4. So I need Quillbore so that I can turn some things around. And then I want these cheap minis that can deal area damage, because there's a lot of squads. So I have the Plague Farmer. Plague Farmer also mainly responsible for killing Rivendare. Then I have Witch Doctor with those shields, just an incredibly strong mini. And then I have a Bat Rider. Bat Rider can shoot ground. The only air unit here is going to be Vultures. So yeah, this is a little low on anti-air, but it usually doesn't matter too much. So I have very cheap minis that can take out squads, and I have a way to turn things around. And then I have a couple of flex slots for Alliance. I'm using Blizzard. You want something that can affect remotely, so something that can shoot ahead of your army. So it's typically either Blizzard or it's Wellpegs. Sometimes you might want to use both of those, but something like that, so that you can hit targets that are not in your immediate vicinity. And then, because Alliance didn't really have anything else that I wanted, then I put in the Defiance Bandits as a cheap cycle unit. And for Alliance I'm using Tirion, because Tirion is just really good, and Tirion actually allows me to tank a little bit here as well, instead of just going in without a proper tank. Another example of my Rivendare army here is Beast with Charlga. So again, I have the essential 4. So I have the Bat Rider, the Witch Doctor, the Plague Farmer, the Quillbore. This time Quillbore is a beast, so I can use 1 beast slot for that. I have 1 beast slot remaining. Then I need something that affects things further away, and this time I'm opting to go with the Wellpegs instead of with the Blizzard. And then I have 1 beast slot, and for that beast slot I opted to going with Polymorph, because I already have a bunch of minis that deal AoE damage, and that means that with Polymorph I can just negate some of the more dangerous enemies and then have my minis go at them, so making good use of that beast slot. I have a kill of Rivendare with every family, so 6 kills overall. So let's take a look at what the Rivendare fight looks like in action. First up, we have Alliance. With Alliance, there's a bit of a longer fight because actually Tirion can tank a little bit here. I wasn't truly planning to tank this with Tirion, but this was really quick. This was just like a 5-minute job to get the Alliance done. So it's also maybe a little bit less refined kill because I didn't have to practice the opening as much, because Tirion just makes it such an easy fight. The second easiest after Cenarion, actually. Cenarion is pretty hilarious, by the way, you will see that in the near future. So here we go, Tirion is tanking, and then Plague Farmers are going in, and we're trying to get that tower. Usually, if you don't have a good tank, if you don't have that little bit of longevity that Tirion gives you, then failing to take that tower with your first push usually means that you're just not going to be able to make it, because then you're going to get overwhelmed. But because with Alliance I have that power of Tirion, Tirion is the best tank in the game because of Divine Shield, means that Tirion is simply going to be unkillable for several seconds. And that's going to give me so much more time that I would have with no other tanks whatsoever with these levels. There you can also see a little bit of that meat wagon shooting across the wall, but I had a blizzard to take care of that. And just look at that Tirion tanking. That's totally crazy. Any other tank at these levels would have fallen long ago, but Tirion does not. So Tirion helps me to tank, and I actually managed to take the tower now. That was a bit of a surprise. Usually this wouldn't go that well, so now I have a bit of a push going on. I also have a Plague Farmer out there, so if the other minis don't lure Baron too close to the Plague Farmer, then that means that Plague Farmer is going to start shooting at Baron. And now you can see there's Plague Farmer fighting against Baron, which means that I'm focusing now on defense, and as you can see Baron's health going down and down. But then there was a meat wagon spawn, so Plague Farmer was killed. But that's okay, you typically don't get a clean kill with a single Plague Farmer in this fight. Either you have the Plague Farmer going with other minis, so there's other distraction, or if you try to send solo Plague Farmers, then they deal some damage and then you need something else to finish Baron Rivendare off, or otherwise you will need another solo Plague Farmer. Like here I'm sending out solo Plague Farmer, and the Plague Farmer now starts to chip in damage in the Baron Rivendare, while I'm spending all of my resources to fight this battle. And this time there were some vultures that killed the Plague Farmer, so as you can see the solo Plague Farmer thing does not work that well every time. But now I sense an opportunity. I'm going to present some threats first on the right side, so that will lure the AI to respond to those threats, and one of those threats is Tirion, who just cannot be killed. And then that means more room for a Plague Farmer to go in again. So that's the third Plague Farmer we're going to try. Let's see. And we have some troops going in, and that Plague Farmer already did enough damage, maybe. Here I'm a little bit uncertain. I'm thinking that I need to send another Plague Farmer out there. Although actually, I think the Blizzard would kill Baron Rivendare here. I was just a little bit skeptical. Usually bosses don't die that easily to spells, but Baron Rivendare does have fairly low health. So Baron Rivendare is easier to kill once you get some damage going in than most other bosses. That was a little bit too early with the Quill Boar, to be a little bit later so that the base would be able to shoot. And again, if I just were to send that Blizzard, but I didn't dare. I was still thinking that I need the Plague Farmer, but now I finally send a Blizzard together with the Plague Farmer, and actually Rivendare just goes down to the Blizzard. Next up, we're going in with beasts. This time I don't have a tank like Tirion, so I need to be able to deal the damage, I need to be able to do distractions, and I need to be able to use polymorph effectively. So here, waiting there, polymorphing just before they get the shoot, and getting everything down. Using Whelbex on the big group and a Quill Boar there to soak some fire so that the whelps would survive a little bit longer. Then onto the other side, trying to defend the right side, while my minis are fighting on the left side. Because of the Blizzard that is available to Baron Rivendare, that means that if you send too many minis into a single group, then they're just going to get blizzarded away. So you need to find the right balance between sending too little and sending too much. And trying to get to mine that gold, that's also very useful. whenever there's a small window of opportunity to get to mine, that denies the gold from the opponent and gets the gold for you. Also, the chest can be useful, but it really depends on what is your status. Sometimes you just forego the chest because you have the push going on well enough. Sometimes you try to fight for the chest. No, I tried to fight for the chest, but I failed here. I'm also thinking that I don't have a lot of stuff going in. Trying to do some wellbacks. Trying to get a bat rider out there. Here we go. There's a push coming from all sides, but bat rider was just able to take out the meat wagon. That's big because that meat wagon is really, really annoying. And now I need to wait until the vulture is down. Once that vulture is gone, then I can send a plague farmer. So here goes a plague farm, but now there's more vultures and skeletons. And so a lot of stuff coming right at me. That's going to be a bit of a problem. Let's see. Polymorph being in great use over there. And I managed to take out the attacking skeletons. The ogre mate didn't die despite the polymorph. And now I'm once again able to send a plague farmer. So more plague farmers are going in and defenses are going here. Okay, that polymorph saved the whelps for a while so that they were able to take out the necromancer and the plague farmer. And other ogre mages coming. But my plague farmer is sticking away at Baron Rivendare's health. And I have enough here to defend. Yes, I had just what it took to defend. And now Baron Rivendare deep in poison and going down. Then Baron Rivendare with Blackrock, and here I'm going to use Drakkisath to tank. Drakkisath is not quite the same tank as Tirion is, sadly. I mean, of course, if you have a little bit more levels, then yeah, Drakkisath is going to be a fine tank. Here I have a level 24 Drakkisath, which means that it already has some levels, so it's able to tank a little bit. It's still not quite there. It's not quite as effective as it could be, but it's getting some job done. The problem with Drakkisath is that it's so slow. So when I was trying which tank is the best for this map, I came to the conclusion that Fire Elemental is by far the best tank. Because stuff like Molten Giant, Abomination, they're so slow, and then they're going to get slowed further by all the freezes from the skeletons, which means that it just takes them too long to reach all the ranged damage dealers. And if you can't reach the ranged damage dealers, well, then I guess you can't really use that tank very effectively. So Drakkisath is a little bit on the slow side, but Drakkisath happened to be the best I had on this account. So Drakkisath it is. And here we managed to get a pretty decent push at Baron. Lost the chest there, but that's totally fine. I would just need to hold on to the tower. If I can hold on to the tower, it's all gonna be fine. Yes, I was able to hold on to the tower. Then I just need to defend, and then I need to get another plague farmer out there. So we're defending. And we're defending, and this would be the moment where I should put the plague farmer out there. Quick. Yes, I need to do it, and then I can come back to hold the line, hold the defenses. Here we go, a bunch of skeletons, but Wellbeck's just in time. The plague farmer doing a great job, getting some more damage out there, and that Baron Rivendare, that one is going down. Then we're going to take Baron Rivendare down with Cenarion, using one Cenarion mini. You often need to off-slot minis from Cenarion because the Cenarion minis are so bad. But Cenarion family was the easiest family. I spent a total of 5 minutes building the army and then taking down the Baron. So just a couple of pulls, see, okay, like what's going to attack, and then I saw, okay, there's going to be an Ogre Mage coming, alright, let's put the right minis. Right minis to fight against the initial push, and that was pretty much it, because Cenarion minis, I mean, just look at all those treants. The treants do die super quick, but there's such a huge number of treants coming from Cenarius, because Cenarius summons treants whenever minis die when they're rooted. So just that huge number of treants means that it's so much easier to push with Cenarius than it is with pretty much anything else. And here we go, Cenarius on the way again, also getting some heals, and this is just beautiful. And then, look at those. Look at those skeletons when they die. And they all turn into tree ants on my side. And the Baron's like, wow, where did all these tree ants come from? And then I'm like, me. Tell the Baron, I want him to know it was me. And oh boy. That push with Cenarius is just... poor Baron, it never really stood a chance. Definitely the most fun kill I had on this one. Then the Horde kill. Horde was the first one that I killed this with, because Horde felt really easy when I did it on my main account. I didn't do Cenarion on my main account, I just did it 5 times. But Horde, with the Horde team, with every other team, I used Fire Elemental to tank and Frostwolf Shaman to heal when I did this on my main account. Pretty much the basic same strategy otherwise, but tank just makes it so that your push just is not going to go away. And with Horde, I was actually able to tank with Cairne, because Cairne has that stun ability, which means that Cairne doesn't take as much damage from the incoming minis as other leaders. But sadly, I found out that when you're level 21, Cairne is unable to tank this. So then I just kept working, iterating from there, and discovering what actually works and how I can beat this encounter. So here we go. At this point I'm taking the tower. I'm a little bit opportunistic about the right tower. Sometimes I can take it, like here. There was a big push coming from the middle, and I was able to respond to all of that with a blizzard, and then there was nothing else coming, and that just allowed me to get the right tower. So sometimes if I get the right opportunity, I can take the right tower too, even though it's not a goal and it's not really sustainable. Like, eventually I am going to get overwhelmed even if I hold both towers. I am not able to hold them indefinitely. But here I managed to get now a nice push. There's a Plague Farmer, there's Wilbur, there's some well pegs. I can focus a little bit more on defense, but now that I even have the tower, then defense is pretty trivial, I would say. Defense is going really smoothly here. But obviously I don't usually have that tower. I can't usually hold it. I wasn't able to take down the Baron here, but Baron is at very low health and some well pegs, and boom, Baron goes down. And one more time with the Undead. It was really hard to find 2 Undead minis that I want for this fight. I mean, Plague Farmers is really important here. And in the end, I ended up going with a Ghoul. Ghoul is still a very nice tank, especially for its cost. So even though Ghoul cannot quite stay alive and tank all of the damage that's going to come at it, then Ghoul turned out to be the one that I wanted the most here. It still gives me some tanking power, it gives me a little bit of that staying power and make the fight a bit easier. I tried like cheat death, and I tried skeletons, and I tried a bunch of stuff, but eventually it was the Ghoul that proved to be the strongest. So there the Ghouls are leading my army, and I'm meanwhile focusing on defense. You can see that Baron Rivendare's health is going down quite rapidly when my push is going in, led by those Ghouls. And what do you know? Baron Rivendare, it's down. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.